Let's go back to fall of 2017. Everyone in the startup space was talking about one thing: Cryptomania. Seemingly overnight, blockchain had become viewed as a game-changing technology, and its merits allowed cryptocurrency companies to offer new and verified ways to exchange money. And people were rushing to fund the future. What was even better is that anyone could invest too. Suddenly, venture capitalists and banks had their days numbered. This is because what really fueled Cryptomania of 2017 was how crypto companies would hold initial coin offerings, or ICOs. And this was the crypto industry's equivalent to the initial public offering, or IPO. These companies raised millions upon millions of dollars through ICOs. And demand was overflowing, champagne was popping, and the excitement was electric. People were making egregious amounts of money, so what was not to love? Well, sadly, as it turned out, a lot. Over 80% of the ICOs in 2017 were found to be scams, or to at least not follow through on any of their promises. And sure, what was obvious, even in the midst of the bubble, was that the growth was 95% due to speculation and hype. Most investors were getting on board with the intention to make a quick buck, and they cared little about the tech or the impact or the long-term viability of the projects they were investing in. And so, just as fast as the bubble had grown, it collapsed under its own weight. And I know if you're a subscriber to this channel, you're probably aware of all these things, so why am I bringing them up? Well, it's because the stock market, and more specifically the emerging investment vehicle we discussed yesterday, the SPAC, is showing signs of repeating Cryptomania from 2017. In other words, 2020 may just well be defined by Cryptomania 2.0, or SPAC mania. Terrible, but we're gonna go with it. And it really is surreal for me to read about SPACs on message boards, because I'm seeing things about arbitrage and gains and 1,000% plus returns, and it reminds me a lot of the message boards of the 2017 crypto era. But as we talked about somewhat yesterday, there is real reason to be excited about SPACs. There is real growth and gains to be had. Some companies currently under consideration for potentially going through a SPAC IPO include Airbnb or Coinbase, and we could see an agreement announcement from a SPAC within the coming weeks or months, indicating that they've partnered with Airbnb or Coinbase, and they're going to take them through the process of listing them on the public markets. And so I want to stop here and make sure that you understand what I've just told you. Essentially, there's a greater than 0% possibility that you could be a pre-IPO investor in Airbnb or Coinbase, companies that are well known and have far reach in their respective industries and have been valued at $31 billion and $8 billion respectively. And importantly, you could be an investor in them before they are officially traded on the public market. And as a result, you'd certainly be looking at a massive return on your investment in a short amount of time. And this is what I find so exciting about SPACs, especially those that have yet to make an announcement, because they're currently searching for a target company that will maximize their profitability when they take that company public. I mean, just look at the return on investment for VTIQ, the SPAC that took Nikola Motors public. It was trading for $11 in March and had grown to $50 by June when its units were converted into shares of Nikola, at which point the shares of Nikola went up to $80. So you can clearly see the return on investment over the course of just a couple months. And yeah, sure, there's definitely a lot of hype in that equation. This is definitely the exception, not the norm. But I'm certain that other SPACs are looking to do the same with similar companies. And seemingly as affirmation of that, another electric car maker, Fisker, announced that they would go public with a SPAC just a few weeks ago. And yeah, while the announcement is still fresh, and in the short term the price action has been mostly neutral, it could very well see some real activity to the upside as details about Fisker's future plans come out, especially as we learn more about how they pose credible competition to Tesla or Nikola. And so hopefully you're starting to see why I'm calling SPACs Cryptomania 2.0. There's lots of money involved, there's lots of potential upside, and there's lots of speculation. Thankfully though, because SPACs are traded on public exchanges, regulated by the SEC, you won't have the risk of 80% of SPACs just suddenly disappearing one day. Instead, as we talked about yesterday, SPACs are emerging to be the right tool at the right time, especially if you're an investor in technology. This is because SPACs allow tech companies to go public earlier, and they allow access to higher risk, higher reward opportunities than what's out there today through a traditional IPO. But right now, while the SPAC market is heating up and has opportunities to offer, well, it's definitely something to be paying attention to. So to round out this video, I want to quickly talk about how to pick SPAC winners, because that is a big part of the process. And after looking into what differentiates SPAC winners and losers, my takeaway is this. The credibility of the SPAC sponsor, or the company that's running the SPAC, is the #1 indicator of post-M&A or merger and acquisition success. Make sure you understand this point. Until a SPAC has completed the M&A process, the SPAC is a blank check company with a sponsor attached. A SPAC is just a shell company. And I can't emphasize that enough. Everything about the SPAC is basically vapor, and everything the SPAC touches is a commodity until the SPAC IPO process is finished. Money is a commodity. Rumors and speculation are a commodity. The sponsor is the only non-commodity in the whole process. This is the fundamental difference you'll find between traditional IPOs and SPAC IPOs, or even ICOs and SPACs. You are not investing in the company going public per se, be that Nikola or Virgin Galactic or whatever. No, when you are investing in a SPAC, you are investing in the company taking that company public. So to that end, here are a few quick rules of thumb to consider SPACs to invest in based on the sponsor. Does the sponsor have a history of allocating money well at scale? Does the sponsor have experience managing or being on a board of public companies? And does the sponsor have experience with similar bets that the SPAC is focusing on? If you can determine that the sponsor has all three of these, then I would say that's a pretty good nod towards them having credibility. This is because credibility especially matters when one is responsible for allocating a vast sum of money towards a risky situation. In short, credibility helps at every step of the SPAC process. The more credibility the sponsor has, the more likely they will raise money, attract credible targets, and get better terms for other stakeholders. Remember that credibility doesn't just help at every step of this process, it's the only thing that matters. And hopefully by now you have some ideas to what SPACs represent, the opportunities they provide, and why they might just be Cryptomania 2.0. We'll be discussing SPACs on our Discord server, so be sure to join us there. And I'm excited to announce that Doc will be releasing a new module for our Futures Masterclass, teaching you how to effectively utilize the Digitex Futures Exchange, which just launched, and promises to be a really interesting place to trade futures on Bitcoin and other crypto assets because they have a no-fee model. And if you want to learn how to effectively utilize it before the crowd gets here, well, that's why Doc is releasing this new module for the Futures Masterclass on Digitex. For those who sign up for the Futures Masterclass before we release this new Digitex module, you'll be able to use a limited time 40% off coupon that expires the moment that we release the Digitex module. So don't delay if you're thinking about trading on Digitex and you want to learn how to effectively utilize it before everyone else does, and get a succinct education on how to utilize it at a discount, which again, expires the moment that we add that new module. So don't delay. So as always, thanks for watching the video. Hope this was insightful. Look forward to more content from us on SPACs and other trading opportunities. And until then, here's to your success. See you in the next one. Cheers.